All right, an absolutely massive day today following the CPI report. Let's go ahead and break down today's action. So we came into the session essentially just wanting to see how yesterday's inside day was going to break. Now, I've talked about this a few times, but whenever you have an inside day on the index or even stocks in play, what you want to see is how price is going to break that inside day range. So if it breaks the high, it's a long, assuming there is acceptance. If it breaks the low, it is a short, again, assuming there is acceptance, there is follow through on that break. Now, following CPI, we're trading, ahead of CPI, prices trading right near that prior day high. You can see the action here, testing that prior day high on a couple of occasions. Comes into CPI and essentially just pure momentum right through that prior day high, up and through some of our upside levels of interest. You get a bit of a pullback here, an opportunity to get long if you miss that momentum move. And it pretty much marks a high there, at least for the overnight or the pre-market session. Now, coming into the open, you clearly have some people attempting to short. You really don't want to be shorting a move like this, a gap and go move. The gap rules do apply. I had mentioned that in the think tank this morning. And essentially what I mean when I say gap rules is you want to see how price treats the gap. If price is holding the gap right off the open, holding that overnight, that pre-market structure right off the open, you definitely don't want to be attempting shorts. Now, I also have another rule unrelated to the gap rule that says don't fade the directional move ahead of 10 a.m. So price puts in some strength here in the first 30 minutes. There's no way I'm going to be attempting any shorts ahead of 10 a.m. We look at 10 a.m. for a potential reversal, 10 a.m. reversal time. It does not materialize. Price makes a fresh new high of day past 10 a.m. pretty much means no shorts should be attempted for the session. That's how I personally trade. Keeps me from fading massive directional moves like this. Yes, the case could be made that you could have made some money through here, but generally speaking, on a big time trend day, you don't want to be trying to grab those opportunities. You just want to be focused on trading with the trend, looking for long opportunities. So we saw a handful of opportunities today. Some of the easiest money plays are going to be any retest of that 4,500 zone. That was our main level of interest. Once this afternoon structure was established, you can pretty much be buying support with fairly high conviction on those trades. We did make a fresh session high into the close here, seeing a bit of selling now, probably just some profit taking ahead of the close. Essentially, overall, some great action today. As far as what we're looking for tomorrow, essentially what I want to see is how price is going to be treating today's high. We are definitely a bit extended here, but like I mentioned last week and like I've mentioned previously, remember, because price is extended is not necessarily a reason to be grabbing shorts, right? We need some type of stronger signal. We need a real reason to be looking for any trade idea for that matter, but particularly for a counter trend trade idea. Now, price can remain overbought. It can remain extended for much longer than you think it can, especially when we have a lot of people still trying to play catch up, especially when we have people that are short and they're just getting blown out of their short positions. So again, you really just don't want to be fighting the trend. That's going to keep you on the right side of things. And more importantly, it's going to keep you profitable. As far as tomorrow, like I said, we're going to be looking at today's high as the main reference point, 45.25. That comes off of the daily chart. We do have a bunch of volume. You can kind of see this high volume node here through that 45.25. If this strength does continue, we're going to be looking at 45.70 area, potentially 4600. Okay, from there we do have the July high. Now, if you watch the end of day recap on Friday, it is up on YouTube if you missed it, but I did talk about the possibility that price, if it breaks this mid-October high, we would see a change in character, and the target for this change in character was the July high. That scenario is essentially starting to play out. We're making our way towards that target. So you will have some interim resistance right through here in the 4570 area and the 4600 area, but ultimately the target for this move is that July high. Now, it's not going to happen in a day, probably won't even happen in a week, and yes, there will be pullbacks along the way. This is kind of a bigger picture, more of a macro idea that we want to be aligning ourselves with. Let's get a look at the tech heavy NQ, QQQ. What I found pretty interesting here was the fact that, this is even stronger, right? It broke that early mid-October high a couple of days ago. Now we're up and through that August high, right? That early September high, almost into that July high. If we take a look at QQQ, it's already there. QQQ is pretty much one session away from testing that July high. Taking a look at SPY, let's see how SPY is looking. So SPY, this was pretty interesting this morning following that CPI move. If I take the lines off of here, so price is testing that 447 area this morning. Note the unfilled gap there, right? So once it broke that 447.5, it's pretty clear that, buyers are going to be attempting to fill this gap up into 450. Pretty much got there almost to the penny. What's the high on SPY for today? 450.06. So again, nothing special here, guys. Just trading pure price action. No special indicators or anything like that. No crystal ball, just technical analysis, price action, and very, very straightforward concepts, and a willingness to go with the primary move, right? To not let my bias cloud what I think is going to happen and just trade what price is showing me. So very similarly, as far as tomorrow is concerned, in SPY, in ES, in NQ, in any index product, we're just going to be focused on the near-term action, which is today's structure, today's range, and then make our trading decisions based on how price trades versus pretty much today's high or potentially this structural low, right? If this breaks, it could give some tactical short opportunities. And I do say tactical because, again, it would be counter trend. We don't really want to be overstaying our welcome in any shorts. So to recap, index trades, looking at today's structure, pretty straightforward stuff. As far as individual names, the list was extremely short. We have LI looking at potential strength up through 40. That'll trigger a breakout play if it can break. We also have net. There's a second day play. Massive strength today. A great technical setup, actually. Look at the resistance through here. So it gaps up, triggers the daily breakout, and puts in a nice trend move. We're going to be looking for continuation of this move tomorrow. Big volume on that play today. We also have SE as a second day watch. So this one was posted as a no bias idea today. Price initially rejected that 40 pivot, that main level of interest that I had on watch this morning, and it's hitting that second downside target into the recent lows. So we're just going to be seeing if there's any type of continuation on this today, or if this afternoon base holds as support and it actually trades higher with this daily support through here as well. So that's the individual name list, LI, NET, and SE. And then we, again, just to reiterate on the index, we're just going to be looking at this 45.25 level on ES, right? Or if 4,500 does fail to hold as support, we could potentially be looking at some tactical shorts depending on where we're trading and how active the overnight session is. That's pretty much it for today. Overall, a pretty solid session, highly active, some great opportunities today. Hope everyone had a great sesh. And I will see you tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep. Take care.